Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to the Tonight Show podcast for today, the 28th of December. The final time this year that we'll be hosting this show, and it's a highlight special today, and also a general news show as well. Me and Zach are going to be reviewing the shows. It also includes the return of a very famous segment back onto our show where we review the best and worst performers of the week from the world of politics, or if not, the world news. I'm joined by Labour Party supporter Zach James for all latest news today. Hello, Zach.
Hello, Charlie. Hello, mate.
Right, well, let's kick off the show by talking about our highlights from 2023, a political year that has seen Rishi Sunak govern us until probably for just over a year now in office. And yes, we have had plenty of highlights from the UK political year 2023, highlighted as well by illegal immigration being at record levels over, I believe, nearly a million people this year. I believe net migration has gone up too massively. It's a huge number. It's also as well seen many other things. Andrew Bridgen famously leaving the Conservative Party over vaccine comments. It's also seen as well the COVID inquiry with Matt Hancock. But in general, the year in politics this year has been huge. In fact, we've actually got a list here of exactly the highlights of the year. This page from Wikipedia explains it all. The 5th of January, the government confirms it wouldn't go ahead to privatise Channel 4. Also come Andrew Bridgen, the highlight in January, being suspended by the Conservative Party. Later would then join Reclaim, but then he left Reclaim and is now a independent MP, or UKIP as they call it. 8th February, Volodymyr Zelensky addressed a joint session of Parliament for the first time since Russia invaded Ukraine. There was also loads of other. Scottish Health Secretary Humza Yousaf. I think he take over Nicola Sturgeon this year? I don't know. But yeah, Humza Yousaf apparently became SNP First Minister, from what I heard, as well. March, yes, it was in March this year. Humza Yousaf became First Minister. April as well saw plenty of other highlights. You saw Dominic Raab resigning as Deputy PM. It also saw the Bibby Stockholm barge stationed in Portland Harbour in Dorset to house asylum seekers, and many other highlights as well. Also saw Ruan Ayapi Eisworth become the new leader of the Plaid Cymru as well. In general, loads of things which I probably could spend all night naming. I mean, Zach, for the UK political year, lots of topsy-turvy moments for our politicians here in the UK and our government of Conservative MPs.
Where do we begin? It's been a busy year. I feel like this year in politics as well. Lots of things have happened. Let me start. Go back to January. The idea that we had Channel 4 being planned to be privatized. It didn't happen because they changed their mind once again. It was another Nadine Dorries project that went out on the still. We had the minimum strikes level bill, which restricted, well, not restricted strikes, but yeah, kind of like allow strikes to go ahead, but for sure some sort of minimum service as well. We also had the year that Sunak was once again fined for taking his seatbelt off. People forgot about that, but that still happened anyway. What else did we have as well? We had loads going on. Bloody Jacob Rees-Mogg again. Boris Johnson. What a year he's had. He resigned as an MP because he was found guilty of this. The standard investigation. The Privilege Committee investigation found him guilty of breaking all the possible rules that you could ever imagine as well. In that, what else did you have as well? You had the year that Suella Braverman broke the headlines as well, literally for all the wrong reasons. As well, you had a reshuffle. In September, that sort of, try to change the dynamics of the Conservative Party a little bit. Bloody David Cameron came back. What? We saw that in a million years as well. You had that gender recognition bill that got scrapped by the Scottish government because they couldn't force it through appeal in the courts and everything like that. You had Sir Keir Starmer hiring Sue Gray as his chief of staff. who saw that coming? The person leading the investigation into Partygate turns out to be the one that leads the Labour Party staff as well. You had Matt Hancock WhatsApps being leaked by Isabel Oakeshott. I mean, blimey, that was quite something as well. A lot of stuff in there as well. Just so much leak. Nicola Sturgeon, no longer there. She stepped down for obvious reasons. It feels like her popularity is waning. You got Hamza Yusuf now leading in charge and everything like that as well. Oh, blimey. There's a lot going on here as well. A lot's happening. You had Dominic Raab, or Bully Raab, should we say, resigning in April over bullying investigations. You had the Bibby Stockholm, which, you know, a lot of controversial things. Poison is one of them. Deaths is another one of them. And just overall disgusting standards on it as well. Andrew Bridgen, you said, expelled for the Conservative Party after comparing vaccines to the Holocaust. You had the illegal migration bill, had Rwanda drama. Richard Sharp resigned as chairman of the BBC because he was stupid enough to, to be too friendly to Boris Johnson. Lots of losses for the Conservative in the local elections this year. Another 1,000 seats gone. Let's see if that continues to spend the spend there as well. Margaret Ferrier banned from the Commons because, stepping down after being caught on COVID the train. Investigation into that as well. You had a new Plaid Cymru leader, which I never heard of. I mean, that's one. Boris standing down. Boris Johnson standing down as well. Lots of things happening as well. I mean, there's so much going on. We had more Partygate stuff as well. Ben Wallace Ben Wallace no longer Defence Secretary as well. Daniel Corksky, someone who, was going to run for Mayor of London and then decided to stand down because he realised there was a groping allegation against him. That was exposed as well. A lot of things. As well. That's happened this year. There's so much that's literally gone on as well. That's happened. That's eventful.
And the King's coronation.
Yeah, we had the coronation as well. We had King Charles's coronation. That was really fun to look forward to as well. It's certainly in that sense because we've got a bit of community spirit as well, and that was brilliant. We also had the year, if I remember, this year has also been highlighted by allegations that Nigel Farage was banked.
Yes,
because of his political views as well. Oh boy, didn't it go on and on about that?
And ULEZ,
there was a lot of drama over that. It finally got that introduced. It's made some headlines, but doesn't really, is less headliney today than what it was as well. In that sense, a lot of things happening. We rejoined the EU scheme for Horizon as well, which was good. Finally, after a little bit of time as well. Spies in Parliament arrested. 2 men arrested in the Official Secrets Act. There's a lot there as well. In that sense as well, and a lot of Conservative MPs deciding to stand down on election. That was announced as well. The likes of David Jones, Stephen Hammond, loads of ones as well. It's with the fact that the Conservatives have got James Cracknell, Olympic swimming, as the next candidate for Colchester is one of them, I have to say, as well. We had the year where HS2 was scrapped. Part of it was scrapped as well. I mean, and claimed into Network North, which is not actually Network North, given the fact that last week we found that some of the funding was going to London, and even they claimed that London was part of Network North. You got you got lots of going on this year. There's just so much going on as well, and next year is going to be even busier because we are going to be in general election year. We know it's going to happen next year sometime. We don't know what's going to happen in the spring of May or even the autumn, October, November, who knows? But blimey, there's a lot to happen. And I've honestly, there's many things I've probably missed out over the year in politics overall. But next year, we'll be talking about it for a lot of reasons. There is so much to look forward to. And, honestly, next year is going to be a bumpy ride. It's going to get nasty at times. It's going to be exciting at times. But what next time this year, we could have a Labour government led by Sir Keir Starmer in charge, or we could have Rishi Sunak miraculously leading the Conservatives at the next election as Prime Minister still. I don't know. My prediction for next year, I think we may see Sir Keir Starmer in Downing Street. I have an inkly feeling. I don't want to get my hopes too high up yet because a year in politics is a long time. But oh boy, for my sanity, wouldn't it be nice to see? I mean, you may not agree, but just for me, would it be nice to see the year that the Reds finally come through? And I'm not talking about Arsenal. I'm talking about the Labour Party. Let's see if that happens next year.
We'll keep you updated on that football match later on because I believe that is live at the moment. But in terms of, obviously to everyone on this show, please comment down below who you want to be in government next year. The general election is a huge time. I'm sure we'll have another leaders debate again, like we saw. Alistair Stewart was actually the first ever. Actually, I would also like to say as well, a special mention to Alistair Stewart, who also stood down this year from broadcasting after over 40 years serving us in the world of British broadcasting, BBC, ITV Channel 4, and also GB News presenters as well. I'd like to commend Alistair Stewart this year. I'd like to say a huge congratulations to him. Thank you so much to him, for what he's done over the last 40 years, covered obviously the first ever general election debate in 2010 between party leaders. It was a huge moment, and obviously the fall of the Berlin Wall, everything. Honestly, Alistair Stewart is unfortunately not in a great condition at the moment. So I hope he's doing well, unfortunately, with what's been happening. But yeah, Zach, loads of highlights this year. Obviously, as well, the HS2 leg was, I think, Birmingham to Manchester, which was actually scrapped by the government. And that was announced, I think, back in October. So, yeah, loads of political highlights this year. We could name many of them, obviously, as well. We've had 2 wars as well. We'll come on to the wars in a minute when we go over the United States as well. But yeah, it's been a big year for us, and certainly the UK has more into 2024 with Boris Johnson joining GB News alongside Jacob Rees-Mogg and a bunch of other Tory MPs as well. So the Conservative Party are getting their own. The politicians are becoming part of GB News now. So certainly interesting to say that for one thing. But moving on now from the United Kingdom, we are going to go straight in now to review the year in America, because there's been a lot of American US news this year that has been very, very interesting. And obviously, United States have had lots of intelligence. We obviously had the wars in Israel and Ukraine this year as well. United States obviously sending cluster bombs over to Ukraine as well. United States has had a big year this year. Obviously, Joe Biden's had to tackle lots of inflation issues in America, crime, inflation, lots of other issues as well surrounding America. Disney as well has been another issue. Ron DeSantis, the Florida governor, and Disney having legal disputes over the Don't Say Gay bill, which is also approved in Florida as well. There's also been lots of, Zach, this year in America, gun laws as well. There's been a lot of news this year, and Biden's year has got a lot tougher, I think, especially with wars breaking out and the fact that there is a huge election next year with Republican debates taking place currently as of now, in the gear up to the next election.
Oh, yeah, in the US, there's been a lot that's happening this year. Congress is one of my highlights for the year, certainly, with everything. The 118th Congress has been complete and utter chaos. Literally chaos. You had Kevin McCarthy in the chair for most of the year, and then he was the latest speaker quickly out of office before he could literally sit down again. It started out over, I think it was 17 rounds of votes to just get the speakership as well. 4 days it took, 15 sessions as well, and 15 votes it took for there to be House Speaker as well. It was the year again. Well, that a lot of things happened. The Supreme Court's abortion related stuff as well Bo Biden visited the US-Mexican border for the first time as well. Alan Weissenberg sentenced to 5 months in jail for a decade-long tax fraud scheme as well. Classified documents drama. Donald Trump, jail, not jail, charge after charge, indictment after indictment. Oh, I mean, it was a full load of them, generally. Classified documents, taxes, election interference, federal, local charges, the things that keep wrapping up for him as well. And he still looks so far to be the favourite to be US president next year. I mean, come on. Crazy, isn't it? Crazy. The US United States is a crazy place. You know, they're child of Alex Murdoch, convicted by a jury and sentenced to life in prison without bail for the murders of both his wife and son, as well as 2 gun charges as well. What else did you have? You had a chocolate factory explosion in Pennsylvania, as well. Lots of tornadoes, as well. Honestly, WWE being sold to Endeavor as well. That's a big thing in America as well. Robert F.K. Jr. There's someone announcing his primary to Biden and then going as an independent as well. You had the likes of Vivek Ramaswamy come up on the scene as well. You had Don Lemon fired from CNN. You had Tucker Carlson
as well being
fired from Fox News on a wild day of media news literally the same day as well. You had honestly, there's so much going on in America as well. You had lots of shootings. George Santos, literally the joke of the year, being elected and then being, I don't know who identifies as these days, as well, what he is or what he does or anything like that as well. There's lots of stuff on that as well. I mean, you had Mike Pence try to go on for election and drop out. Doug Brown dropping out as well. Hunter Biden pleading guilty federal tax and firearm charges, and then they're not pleading guilty because the DOJ is his plea deal got thrown out by court. So he's pleading not guilty, but he's still got a lot of tax drama and everything like that as well on his mind and all that sort of thing as well. But a lot's happened. Mass shootings. Lots of things happening over the summer as well. But a busy year in US politics as well. It's not just here in the UK. We'll be keeping an eye on what's happening next year in US politics as well, where the 2024 US presidential election will take place, whether the primaries, courtroom drama, potentially Donald Trump, and a lot more to come this next year.
It's going to be a busy year for America, certainly. All the latest news and obviously elections coming up for president as well. It's going to be a big year for the US population. And Zach, before we move on and do the news, obviously 2 wars this year as well. The continuation of Putin's war in Ukraine and also a new war for Israel and Hamas. Benjamin Netanyahu basically going after Hamas right now. And obviously Israel were attacked by Hamas. And what's the progress looking at the moment for that?
Yeah, I mean, the Ukraine-Russia war, start off with that, has continued this year as well. The situation really hasn't changed that much if you think about it. I mean, Ukraine have been trying to do this counter-offensives. I don't think has been as successful as the first set of counter-offensives. I'm afraid to say that's up, but they've still strong in the defense side of things. They're very strong there. They've kept most of their land, lost some, but gained others. They gained, Dnipro back and everything like that. Areas of that as well. They can advance in some areas. Russia making small gains in others. Not significant, but symbolic, really, in certain ways as well. The things to remember about this is it's still taking lots of innocent lives. People's homes are getting destroyed as well. This is still an illegal invasion. Russia is going to a critical year again with Putin up for re-election, which he'll probably win easily. We had Sorokin being murdered. Well, I mean, literally falling out. I don't know. His plane exploded. He was the leader. We had that pretty chaotic point where it almost looks like the Wagner Group were going to overturn his government as well in dramatic fashion, and then he sort of surrendered for absolutely nothing, which led to it. Then his plane being destroyed. We know that people been falling out of windows. That seems to be the reason. Yeah, lots still up in the Russian-Ukraine war front, and also as well, I'm afraid to say, another war front over in Israel and Gaza and the Palestinian area as well, where Hamas decided to inflict a terrorist attack on October the 7th, that we haven't seen in a long, long time. Slaughtering, murdering, killing people, beheading babies, as well, children, completely innocent ones, taken away. Hostages are still there as well. The Gaza, more controversial on the Israel side, the Gaza Strip is being wiped out, but they're still trying to take out, segregate the West Bank as well. Yeah, this has not been a good year for Israel. Let's say as well, Netanyahu's been back in charge. We've had the scheme. We have had the situation this year where he's tried to put traditional reviews laws into effect that would, basically dysfunction some of the court systems. That's all been put on hold because obviously this war at the moment as well. And yeah, his tactics are coming to questions. Some of it as well, obviously to wipe out, Hamas, which is understandable, but then taking a lot of innocent civilians out in Palestine as well. It feels like he's alienating some parts of the community with his approach as well. And even the US and UK are starting to move directions in this, and feel like his direction of fighting against the war is not appropriate. So this will be an interesting dynamic as we go into 2024 to see, are everyone going to turn against Israel, or are we going to see, a full-fledged feint and a different tactics by Israel as we go into another year of war on that front as well?
Well, there's lots of wars coming up. I just first as well, lots of wars, 2 huge wars at the moment, and we pray obviously for people who are living in them countries right now, and we also as well pay our respects to those who've lost loved ones out in these conflict zones right now, because it's an apocalypse what's happening over there. Ukraine is still in war; they're under siege from Russia, and obviously Israel and Hamas are both continuation in mortal combat at the moment. 2 horrible conflicts going on. I'm sure there'll be many more war poems being wrote in them as well. If you're studying your English lessons at school, maybe try and write a war poem or something about this to describe how people are feeling right now in this, because a poem from a war can actually describe what's happening, can actually make the reader draw themselves into the attention. So yeah, that's it. I feel like I'm being an English teacher. They're going on about that, but yeah, that's all of the news there from the whole of the highlight section now of the show. If you've got any comments, please let me know about that as well. But we're going to bring back this segment. Now, we're going to do it in the middle of the show each week, because I feel like we need to bring back the stars and the devils of the week, because I feel like this segment gives us a chance to review in more depth who's been the best performers this week and also who's been the worst performers. So it can be a positive news story, and then we'll also bring out someone in the week who has performed really badly. It could be a celebrity, it could be a politician, it could be anything. I'm going to go with my nomination first. My star of the week is going to be this person here. It's a Selby teenager who is named Alex. Alex from Selby. He has apparently, within a fortnight, qualified to be the youngest ever apparently he's the youngest bus driver ever. He's just 18 years old, and he qualified just 12 days after his 18th birthday earlier this month, after training at South Yorkshire-based City Driver Training. A self-professed bus enthusiast, Alex told Sheffield Star he was proud of the achievement after passing his test for the first time. Unlike securing a licensed driver car, prospective bus drivers are unable to qualify until they're at least 18 years old. Speaking to paper, Alex said, "My parents are really proud of me because I'm Britain's youngest bus driver. I checked around the country, including London and Scotland, and it's not possible to take a test any earlier after turning 18, I guess, if I want to deny people time to sober up. I've always been a bus enthusiast. I love getting out and about travelling. I have a car licence, but everyone has that the bus license better achievement. 2 years ago, Bradford teenager Kirash Summers became the youngest ever bus driver for Yorkshire-based Transdev after he too qualified at the age of 18. I mean, what an achievement. Alex from Selby is definitely a star of the week. That is a huge achievement. Someone who's 18 years old and passed their driving test for a bus as well. I mean, you're driving, well, it's like any 6 or 7 ton vehicle. It's like one of the largest vehicles on the road. I'm sure Basildon residents would love to see you driving around your double-decker bus around here. But as well as that, in Sheffield, a very populated city, you know. I've been up there before, actually. Went to do a squash competition last year. And you know what? Long drive for me, over 3 hours. But I'm sure you're keeping your residents happy. I hope you're providing a smile for your residents after this. I know, you know, all your residents will be proud of you. It's a huge achievement, and I think you deserve it. And the Devils of the week for me, number 1 is James Cleverly, the Home Secretary, for claiming that he would apparently joke that he spiked his wife's drink, or his girlfriend's drink. I mean, you can't. The Conservative Party, Matt, that isn't a Home Secretary, say. Actually, no, he's the Home Secretary now. Yes, David Cameron swapped with him. But can you imagine saying that you'd spike a wife a drink? I mean, like, that's a sacking matter, I think, if you ask me that. And another nomination this week is a controversial nomination. Actually, I've got a couple of others. I've got a Hong Kong democracy activist apparently flee to UK to claim asylum. But the other nomination, sorry if you are a London Mayor enthusiast, because Sadiq Khan unfortunately gets it this week because he's facing new ULEZ headache over claims that drivers have launched 6.5 million in fines, apparently, over the Mayor's failed ULEZ expansion. He claims lawyers acting on behalf of companies argue 6.5 million fines were issued unlawfully by the ULEZ zone, the Ultra Emission Zone. This marks the first legal challenge to Transport London and its debt aging collection. It's a Euro Parking Collection, or EP70, devised for foreign drivers. It was come up as 5 more million people, including the zone, of their Khan extended it to out of London in August. So a revolt on ULEZ, not ideal. And Khan gets the nomination this week alongside James Cleverly. So 2 politicians going there for the Devil, and the star being Alex from Selby, the bus driver. Zach, what's your nominations this week, and what's your reaction to mine?
Oh right. Well, I haven't really thought of much nominations, so I'm gonna agree with your nomination for Star of the Week as well. I'm also gonna agree with your Devil of the Week because quite frankly I haven't thought of it really, to be fair. But James Cleverly was definitely going to be one of mine as well, with the rather bizarre and quite frankly, I don't know, inappropriate spiking comments that just plain, I don't know what coming out of his mouth. What I don't know what mind was he thinking of making those. I know it's supposed to be jokey comments, but just weird and stupid and insensitive comments that are have outraged certain organizations for the way that that's come across. I mean, like, no, who would joke about that as well? If I was a woman, I'd feel a little bit uncomfortable listening to that. And quite frankly, almost make it sound like it's tolerable when it's not. So yeah, I'm going to just agree with your choices because I frankly haven't really thought much really this week as well. So yeah, Alex, the bus driver, the youngest bus driver in the UK. Well done to him. And James Cleverly, big thumbs down for you this week, buddy. It's coming a bit of a common theme with James Cleverly. I think he's enjoying his power too much, I think, now with his recent positions and fame and popularity. Yeah, no, he's not for me. Not for me. Definitely for this week.
Well, James Cleverly will now have to deal with trying to stop the boat. So that's all I'm going to say on that one. But yeah, it's been a busy week. Certainly a busy few days for UK news. But obviously, that is our Stars and the Devils. Please comment down below your nominations for the Stars and Devils of the week. We'd love to hear what you think about the highlights of the week. It can be anyone, anybody, politician, celebrity, you name it. So, yeah, that would be interesting. Moving on now, we're gonna dive into a few news stories of tonight's show. There's not much news around. We're gonna mainly review the papers later on. That will give you more of the headlines. let's talk about tonight's news now. Now, I want to mention, obviously, about what has been happening in the UK, because there's been a couple of news stories that I want to mention about. We've had Blackpool Tower apparently suspectedly going on fire,
Which
and
hasn't.
also Storm Gerrit, which is a storm that has hit parts of the UK, and it's claimed that the man who was killed as a car was in a Good Samaritan. There's loads of news stories I could possibly go through, but yes, a tornado. Thousands have still been out without power following Storm Gerrit. Obviously, it hit today. 3,000 homes without power. It brought blizzards and flooding to Scotland. 11 properties in the Fife area were evacuated due to flooding while drivers on the A9 in the Highlands were stranded by snow Wednesday evening and pools. The road was shut at Scrabstart due to a landslide, though one lane has since reopened. Elsewhere in the UK, it saw hundreds of homes damaged and localised tornado tore through Tameside area of Greater Manchester. Rail services of Perth and Dundee remained shut on Thursday morning, and key routes between Aberdeen, Dundee and Inverness were closed then. I mean, Zach, this storm, Gerrit, certainly has brought disruption to parts of the north of the country today.
Yeah, this is a Storm Gerrit. It's a bit of a bizarre storm, really, because it seems like it's a multi-day storm. It's just a system that's just lingering across the UK with all these gusty winds to certain places, including ours, but mostly it's up in the north where it's been worse affected. And just outside of Manchester, there's been a bizarre event of a tornado happening. A very mini tornado, but still a tornado that's happened. That's blown some roofs off of people's properties, but thankfully no one's been injured. But yeah, still shows the site that we can get the occasional tornado here in the UK. That is noteworthy for many things. And we did have one in the Isle of Wight recently during a storm as well. That was quite surprising and shocking to watch as well. But that was obviously off the Isle of Wight, and thankfully, don't believe anyone was killed in that, thankfully as well. But no one was injured in this one or killed, but we did have a few missing tiles, and it did wake up certain people during the night as well, which, yeah, not great. But thankfully, everyone was okay. But yeah, it is windy out there. Some gusts are recording 80, 90 mile an hour winds as well. Scotland was particularly chaotic because nobody could get up there. There was a few train lines that had been cancelled as well, and that resulted in even some matches in SPL that week being called off because nobody could travel. Everyone was struggling to get through to intended destinations, and it wasn't fair on them. So yeah, there was a few postponements in that regard, but yeah, and I know you mentioned the Blackpool Tower thing. I want to update people on that because it's a bit bizarre what's happened today regarding Blackpool Tower. There was not an actual fire at Blackpool Tower, despite what's being claimed as well. There was a bunch of fire engines being called to the Blackpool Tower, but it was not a fire at the Blackpool Tower because there's not actually no smoke coming out of it. It was an orange netting blowing in the wind that was happening in the Blackpool Tower, not a fire. But we did get, unfortunately, a moment where a man was arrested at the base of the building for breach of the peace, as well, adding to the chaos, which is interesting. But yeah, it was orange netting at the Blackpool Tower that was the reason why this whole chaos started. And not an actual fire of flames. Nothing was burning, and nothing was damaged. It was just orange netting, and probably caused by the high winds. But still, a bit of a scare for people who confused orange with an actual fire as well. And I was a suspect his blaze was orange netting. Yeah, there was no fire, which is one of the weird stories of the week for me. The fact that a Blackpool Tower fire has been confused for orange netting. Put your high vis on if you really wanted to next time, because I think we'll confuse between the high vis and orange netting.
Actually, speaking of that, I do actually remember wearing a high vis. That was like when I was back in primary school, being a play leader in a shed. So I can safely say, personal experience, I have actually worn a high vis before in that, or being on a construction site. So yeah, Blackpool Tower, Certainly it's a weird, interesting story, but obviously Storm Gerrit has caused significant disruption to the UK. So, yeah, just obviously be careful out on the roads in the north of the country. Obviously, if the roads are shut, just be aware. Travel news. Obviously, check your local travel websites like the AA, or just listening to your local radio stations. They've got all the travel news lined up for you. Obviously, train disruptions as well, cancellations, all that kind of stuff could affect your journeys. Now, moving on now to sports news. Now, let's talk about some sports news. Now, I'm going to start though with. Do you know what? We're going to crack on. We'll do the football first, shall we? I know a lot of people want to do the footy. Currently, at the moment, I believe ongoing is there is a couple of matches ongoing at the moment. I think there was a late kickoff at 8:15.
Yeah.
I think Arsenal were playing against West Ham this evening. So we'll get you the live scores for you now as we come in. But we'll do all of the news. And there has been a shocker in the Brighton and Tottenham match tonight. Brighton beat Tottenham 4-2. Huge win for Brighton, actually, in the table. Moves them up, I believe, now to 9th, I think, after that. And West Ham beating Arsenal 2-0. My uncle actually watches this show, and his name's Chris. If you're watching the show, Chris, later on, sorry to say that Arsenal currently at the moment 2-0 down against West Ham. I don't know how many people are going to feel about that if you support the red team tonight, unless they can come back and actually win something out of that. So, sorry to the red fans out there who have said that, but yeah, Arsenal 2-0 down. They've still got at 25 minutes plus any time to go. So yeah, but obviously the other one has finished. There's also been other football fixtures as well this week, as well. In the Premier League, there's been obviously Brentford, Wolves 4-1, Chelsea beat Crystal Palace 2-1, Manchester City, Everton as well. Manchester United also won the other day as well. I mean, Zach, there's been plenty of football action this week, hasn't it? Including some big results.
Oh, yeah, there's been plenty of it this week. That's most certainly. As you mentioned, the live score at the moment is 66 minutes in. Arsenal are 2-0 down to West Ham at home. That'll be a big dent in the hopes of their title challenge, because it means that Liverpool will be too clear at the top of the table as well. So yeah, that's a significant result in that effect as well. The other match that's finished today, Brighton putting a shocker on Spurs, 4-2 result. At one point, Brighton were 4-0 up. It really was a terrible match for Spurs today. Injuries galore. No Romero, and they've had goals from Lissis and Ben Davies, but overall, Jack Hissenwood's 11-minute goal. 2 penalty from Pedro that's taken in the 23rd and 73rd minute, and Perez is Jamian in the 63rd minute. I mean, complete dominant from them. Well done to them as well. Other matches this week as well today on the Tuesday. Newcastle losing to Nottingham Forest. It's the first win for Nuno Espirito Santos at Nottingham Forest, and a big win that was defeating Newcastle, who's had probably a dreadful month, I have to say, as well. The other Boxing Day matches, we had Luton Town coming from behind to beat Sheffield United 2-0 as well. It was a very tasty match, that one. Bournemouth winning 3-0 against Fulham. Yeah, that was a really good result for Bournemouth. Liverpool winning 2-0 against Burnley. United coming from 2 behind to win against from Aston Villa to win 3-2 as well. Tasty match in that department. Chelsea 2-1 victory against Palace. Wolves are a stonking 4-1 victory over Brentford. Man City coming from 1 behind to win 3-1 at Everton. And yeah, that we mentioned today's results as well, which is all done. But we've still got more action coming this Saturday. And then ranging from Saturday to Tuesday onwards as well. It will begin on Saturday with Luton Town against Chelsea. I expect that one to be quite close, given the fact that Luton have been on a good run recently as well. That was certainly 12. So that's the game at lunchtime, and then there's 4 games kicking off at 3 o'clock as well. The pick of that one, searching Man City, Sheffield United as well. That's at 3. London derby between Palace and Brentford at 3, but Villa Burnley at 3, Wolves Everton at 3 as well. And then the 5:30 game, Nottingham Forest against Manchester United. 2 site games on the Sunday, Fulham Arsenal, Tottenham Bournemouth at 2. Monday night is Liverpool. It's certainly the game of the week for me. Liverpool versus Newcastle. And on Tuesday, as well. There is a Tuesday game next week as well to begin the new year. We have West Ham and Brighton as well. It could be a tasty tie, that one as well. Liverpool, Newcastle's first game in the new year, so I should say as well. And then the Premier League will be on a week's break for the FA Cup as well, before returning on the 13th of January, where it will be a split weekend as well, should point out. There's going to be a split weekend. So there'll be 5 matches for the match day in one weekend and 5 matches, other matches covering the other weekend as well. This is where we're going to have the winter break put into effect, where some teams will be playing one week and some teams will be playing the other as well in January. But that's to look forward to. That's still a little bit while away, but yeah, this weekend will be as well. There's still, West Ham winning at the moment against Arsenal, and there'll be 10 more matches, or 8 more matches of 2023 left, and then 2 more going into 2024 as well, into the new year, with Liverpool, Newcastle, West Ham, Brighton all in action on New Year's as well.
That's all the latest football news there now. And it's time now to talk about the PDC World Darts Championship taking place at Alexandra Palace. Now, for you guys out there, I wish we covered. We're going to start, I think, covering darts a bit more on here because there's been some big darts events coming up. World Match Play, Premier League's coming up next year. I feel like we should cover them a little bit more. But the World Championship is the biggest one. There has been a shocker tonight. If you haven't watched the match already, please skip this part of the show. But we can confirm to you tonight that Gerwyn Price, I think he's the world number 5. He has been knocked out of the World Darts Championship after Brendan Dolan, who you may remember many years ago hit a 9-darter, I think, on the World Grand Prix. He was one of the first 9-darters in that tournament. Beat Gerwyn Price, I think 4-2 tonight. A huge win on tops as well for Brendan Dolan, knocking out Gerwyn Price. And yeah, that is a huge shock in the World Darts Championship as well. Certainly for him as well. And also as well, I forgot to mention another star of the week. It has been this guy here in a question of Luke Littler. Being another star of the week. I just want to say, I think he deserves a star of the week as well for 16-year-old going into the last 16 of the World Darts Championship. Pretty incredible result for him. He's been on some great form recently. But tonight's matches, Stephen Bunting continuing a very strong start, averaging really, really well. 4-0 win against Florian Hempel, 3-2 in legs in the first one, 3-1, 3-2, 3-1 there. Joe Cullen beating Ryan Searle as well, 4-2, 3-1, 3-1, 0-3, 2-3, 3-2, 3-2 there in that one. And Chris Dobie beating Ross Smith, 4-2, 3-1, 3-1, 2-3, 1-3, 3-2, 3-1. And in the evening session, as I said earlier, Brendan Dolan beating Gerwyn Price 4-2. That's a shot. 3-2, 1-3, 3-2, 0-3, 3-2, and 3-2. Luke Humphries, I believe, is playing and might be playing now, I think, against Ricardo Patricio. And Ricky Evans plays Daryl Gurney tonight in a big clash. In that one and tomorrow's afternoon session, we'll see Herta against Pia. Johnny Clayton will play Christoph Radatsky. And Jim Williams plays, I believe, 5-time world champion Raymond van Barneveld. And then tomorrow's night's session, we'll see Boris Kramar taking on Gary Anderson. Michael Van Goen will play his 4th round match, his last 16 match, against a rapid-fire Stephen Bunting at the moment. Can Bunting prove a surprise in that match with the way his averaging's been playing? And Michael Smith, last year's champion, plays Chris Dobie tomorrow night as well. Zach, plenty of highlights today from the World Darts Championship, including over the last week.
It's been really good actually since its return from the Christmas break as well. Round 4 will get underway tomorrow as well, and we'll get through some of the matches as well in that. But let me go through some of the round 3 matches we've had since the Christmas break. It's been really fun event as well. First match of the round 3, Scott Williams beating Martin Smertler as well. That was a really, really tasty match as well. where Scott Williams was at one point, 2-0 down and then came from 2 sets behind to win 4-3. Incredible match in that one as well. Some of the big hitters as well doing really well. Dave Chisnell beating Gabriel Clemens 4-1 as well. Rob Cross easily through, despite a little bit tricky at the beginning as well, but he managed to average 101 to win. That was really good scores on that front as well. And then we get into the evening. Luke Littner. Wow. 3-0 in the first 2 sets. And then set 3, he wins 2-3. Loses 3-2 as well, but then in the final set wins 3-1. That boy keeps doing it. And I believe he got 160 knockout at one point as well. But he averaged 97 on that front as well. Nowhere near as good on the averages, though, as Michael van Gerwen beating his fellow Dutchman, Richard Versteer, as well, in an absolute dominant fashion. 101 average on that front. Michael Smith through as well, despite losing the first set as well. Managed a comfortable comeback yesterday as well. And then today as well. Stephen Bunting. Exciting match, but a 4-0 wipeout with 101.15. I know he's a bit famous for his TikToks at the moment, but his darts is just as good at the moment. The rock star Ryan Seal knocked out today by Joe Cullen in a really 5. I have to say as well. 5 of the players in the afternoon session were British, were English. Joe Cullen beating the rock star Ryan Seal 4-2, and then Chris Dobie knocking out Ross Smith. 102 average, even though Ross Smith was averaging 103. He lost 4-2 to Chris Dobie. That proves how close the match was and some of the opportunities that are wasted by Ross Smith today in these matches as well. And then into the evening session, which is still ongoing, by the way, the big shocker, Gerwyn Price out against Brendan Dolan, the Northern Irishman, beating Gerwyn Price 4-2 as well. Big shock there as well. At the moment, Luke Humphreys and Ricardo Patricio is underway at the moment. It looks like Luke Humphrey is losing at the moment. I believe he's 3-1 down at the moment against Luke Humphreys. And we're waiting for the final match, I believe, which will be Ricky Evans, comedy Ricky Evans, as well, who's most famous for having some good walk-ons this year as well. He's taking on Daryl Gurney as well. Tomorrow's session, we've got mostly the conclusion of round 3. You'll have Damon Heltate and Barry Van Peer in action. Johnny Clayton as well against Christoph Van der Vitsky. Jim Williams and Raymond Van Barneveld. And the winner of that match will face Luke Littner in that one. That's going to be a cracker if it's Raymond Van Barneveld, I have to say as well. But we've also got some crackers in the evening session tomorrow. Boris Klitschko, Gary Anderson, the final 3rd round match, and then the start of the 4th round matches, which includes some absolute crackers. Michael van Gerwen, Stephen Bunting, I think for me, the match of the night to watch out for, as well as a big one between Michael Smith, the world number 1, and Chris Dobie as well. Oh, there is some big matches to look out for tomorrow as well, as really we're getting to the final stages of the PDC World Darts Championship.
It's going to be a big championship for the darts. We'll keep you updated on that as we come in, including next week as well. I think finals night will be next week as well. So plenty of action from the World Darts Championship at the Alexandra Palace. And also, quick update on the Formula One news now. And Zach, more teams announcing launch dates for their new 2024 challenges, including a double whammy day for the teams beginning with M, Mercedes and McLaren, launching on Valentine's Day.
Yes. We're going to have 2 launches on, I believe it's February the 5th. Yeah, so Williams announced 5th for February. The so-called Sauber team, which is going to have some sort of new name at the start of the year, is also launching on February 5th. We know that Ferrari are launching their car on February the 13th as well. We are yet to hear from others. I'm sure we're going to hear soon from the likes of Red Bull, Mercedes, McLaren, Aston Martin, Alpine, Alpha Torres, or Racing Bulls, which most people will call it as next season, and Haas when their car launches are. But we know now there are 2 launch days on 5th of February. They're going to be Williams and whatever Sauber is going to be called on that day as well. And on the 13th, it's going to be the Ferrari. February the 13th for Ferrari as well. And by the way, the Ferrari film is now in cinemas, by the way, if you want to watch that as well. I haven't seen it myself, but I'm hearing some good reviews about it. So go and check it out in cinemas if you really want to.
Yeah, so plenty of news on that as well, on films and stuff. By the way, I did watch Die Hard, the 2 Die Hard films the other day with Bruce Willis in. So I can say it's a great film. Recommend it to anyone who wants to watch it. So yeah, action thrillers are certainly my thing. And Ferrari, the film as well, I'll try and give that a watch very soon as well. So watch this space for film reviews coming up. Very interesting, you know. Moving on now to Conversation Street now. I'm going to be talking. Obviously, Christmas is now come and gone now. I'm going to be talking, obviously, about New Year's Eve and about, in particular, New Year's Eve club anthems. Actually, you know what? It's New Year's Eve. I'm going to be talking tonight about one guy who is certainly having a lot of success at the moment. Now, obviously, if you don't know an artist called Michael Bublé, you might not know him. I think Michael Bublé deserves the chat this week because Michael Bublé is an artist who is known for, of course, the Great American Songbook, pop music, and he's from, obviously, Canada. He's a Canadian artist, comes from, a lot of people call them the cold country. Canada's often had really cold winters and that, Rocky Mountains and stuff. But Michael Bublé is an artist that's been widely recognised for his work in the world of music. As well, obviously, he's done a lot of work in Christmas music, Christmas album as well, Christmas covers of classic songs like Come Fly Me by Frank Sinatra, and also general his own music material. He also released a recent album called Higher last year, which featured Higher, I'll Never Not Love You as well, a couple of other songs on there, and also Love You Anymore. There's been quite a lot of songs, and Zach, I have to say, Michael Bublé is an artist that has come a long way over the years to establish himself as a great ambassador and a great artist in general. Not even if you're just modern, but also contemporary, classic, jazz, any genre you could possibly think of.
Yeah, I think we remember Michael Bublé for all the Christmas stuff as well. But seriously, we do remember him for the general music as well. And he's created some crackers of general music before, which I have to say have sounded really, really good overall, and thoroughly enjoyable and funky and fun to listen to as well. In terms of his music, I mean, you can think of a lot of stuff that he can come out with as well, and generally, it generally impressed me. His general music is funky, it's a bit jazzy as well, if you want to think about it in many ways as well. But he's developed some good songs over the years as well. He's created albums for a long time. He released his first one in 2003. It was self-titled as well. And that was, and some of the songs that included Fever, The Way You Look Tonight, Moon Dance, Never Find Another Like Me, How Can You Mend a Broken Heart, with Barry Gibbs of Bee Gees on backing vocals as well. And he released In Time in 2005, and Feeling Good, Can't Buy My Love, Saving the Last Dance for Me, Song for You, lots of that as well. And then Crazy Love was a big one, actually, which included a very popular one, Haven't Met You Yet. And that was a really popular one, actually, as well. It really was as well. And yeah, it was really, really good song as well. And yeah, you remember it as well. And then he also released To Be Loved But Nobody But Me. It's a Beautiful Day. I remember that one, actually. That was a really lovely, uplifting song as well. And then he released Nobody But Me as well in 2016, which was really good as well. I have to say that was a really good song as well. But yeah, he also released his 8th album in 2019 actually, called Love. The first thing When I Fall in Love in 2018 as well. And it was very a bit more of a somber sort of album as well, in many senses as well. But yeah, he's a lot of hits over the years, not just his Christmas stuff, which we all know very well. He's also I think if I remember rightly, he's also featured in a bit of television. He featured in 2 episodes of The X-Files as the submarine sailor. He also featured as well in Death Game as a drone groupie as well. And he also featured in the episode 9498 of Day of Our Lives in 2003 as well. That's very interesting to say as well. He has done some film stuff as well. You wouldn't really know about it, but he received lots of Grammys for his albums and everything like that. So Higher 2023, he won it for To Be Loved in 2024 as well. A few on the iHearts as well. Yeah, he's just an award winner. Lots of stuff that you can remember as well from him. But yeah, that's just proves that Sir Bublé has a long, successful career for himself. And yeah, I haven't heard of him in a while, but he's still going well, I see. Appearing in some adverts now and then, and in his Christmas music is always as popular as ever. But now Christmas is finished, so we sort of forget about him for another year. But who knew? Yeah, but he's still as good as he ever been, shall we say, as that.
A lot of people say, "Oh, Michael Bublé." Obviously, people call him Mr. Christmas because of the Christmas album. Obviously, the cover of "All I Want for Christmas" by Mariah Carey, my personal favourite Christmas song. But also, as well, I have to say, I think Michael Bublé is my new favourite singer right now. He's such a brilliant artist, all round. He's different to someone like Craig David or someone like Ed Sheeran, or even someone like that came out of the 90s, like I'd say his vocals kind of, if you're a lot older, if you say a lot in your 50s or 60s, you'll like him because he covers a lot of songs. He sounds like a modern day version of Frank Sinatra in some of his songs, like you're covering, obviously, he done a song called Something Stupid with, I think, Reese Witherspoon, if I'm correct, who actually is an actress. She's a very famous actress. She's been in so many films. Obviously, one film in particular, she starred in. She was actually a cop in one of them. I think it was called something like Burnout or something. I know the film because I've watched it. But yeah, she starred in a film like that, I think. It was where she was a police officer. But yeah, no. Michael Bublé is a very iconic singer, and I think there was rumours going around, though, if you have watched his Diary of a CEO podcast with Stephen Bartlett, the latest episode, which has just aired, he has opened up on a lot of stuff, and particularly, obviously, his youngest son, I think, has had cancer. Noah, I think that's his name. He's had cancer, and Michael's obviously been very hard by that. It was horrible news to hear. Obviously, we wish his son all the best. We really hope that he makes a recovery from it because cancer's horrible, as you know. And that Michael Bublé has revealed some interesting things in that interview with Stephen Bartlett about potentially turning to television and maybe possibly acting as a future career away from music. I mean, this would be a huge move if he went into that industry.
I mean, yeah, it would be a big move. Like I said, he's already got a sort of mini acting sort of TV career in it. I mean, he's done a lot of TV series, but as a film star himself, it's very, like I said, he's done it before. Like I said, I mentioned he's featured in 2 episodes of Star Trek. Obviously very minimal role in that, but he proves that he has got a bit of acting in him. And I have to say, I can imagine him as a good actor, a popular actor, and very name recognizing actor that I feel like people will be able to get behind as well, and really enjoy his company on as well. But yeah, that'd be something to look out for. I feel like as well, it'd be unique, it'd be interesting, and I feel like he'd thrive in that role really well.
That's Michael Bublé for you there. And before we move on and do the music, New Year's coming up. We've got the New Year's Eve fireworks taking place, I believe, on, I think, Sunday night, early Monday morning in London. And it's a time of the year where a lot of the DJs get out their big old DJ sets. New Year's Eve Rocks is on this weekend as well. Zach, the lineup for New Year's Rocks is looking very, very interesting. And also club anthems, I'm sure, will be playing everywhere ahead of the New Year celebrations this weekend.
Yeah, a lot of clubs are going to go mental this weekend because obviously it's New Year and a lot of fun happens in there. A lot of people get drunk as we celebrate as well, going into a new year as well. And I imagine there's going to be a lot of parties, there'll be a lot of fun. People are going to get drunk. People will enjoy themselves. The music's going to be crazy as well because people are going to play the old classic anthems and throwback, probably their favourites of the year as well. The DJs are going to get mixed in the clubs and everything as well. People are going to socialise. People are going for drinks. It's certainly going to be a busy final year as well. The day of the year. on BBC One this year on New Year's Rocks, it'll be Rick Ashley performing as well. I mean, they're never going to give that up with that guy, but but it's him. It's him that is performing this year as well. Last year, I believe we had Sam Ryder rocking his team to New Year's Eve, New Year as well. But this year, it's Rick Ashley has got the honours as well, doing a performance. And it's just seen the New Year's Raw, and obviously the New Year's fireworks as well is going to take place back in front of the London Eye again as well, I believe, as usual. And I believe tonight as well. I don't know if it's tonight or tomorrow or the weekend, but we should find out the New Year's honours list as well, potentially very, very shortly. So we're going to have that as well. Just maybe this weekend as well, but they will be going. It will be done from the London Eye as well. For sponsorship reasons, called the lastminute.com London Eye. All the tickets are now sold out for the event as well. All of it is sold out as well, so you can't get tickets. But you can be able to see other viewing areas as well if you want to watch the fireworks as well. I imagine there'll be a lot to prepare for as well. So yeah, New Year's is getting closer. We only have 4 days in 2023 left. I mean, we are 99% complete this year. And soon we'll be turning the corner and seeing in 2024. How exciting isn't that be? Another year, another year gone, another year to make another set of memories as well. And it's certainly come and get closer, Charlie.
It's a big year. It's a big ending. And I think for tonight's musical interlude, we're going to go clubby tonight. Clubby anthems, we want a song that kind of replicates that, don't we? So, you know what? A lot of people have been asking, should you go classic? Should you go modern? Should you go retro? I think the answer to that question, when you ring in the new year, you want a song that actually kind of mimics that in a way. But tonight, of course, it's a new year. Craig David's going to be on, and DJ time, let's hear right now. Ladies and gentlemen, ringing in the new year this year on my show. We're going to have 2 songs tonight, because obviously it is New Year. The first one on my list is actually going to be a Craig David song, and you will absolutely love this. It's actually a song that you might even know very, very well. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to play for you, and we'll be back in a few minutes' time. It is, of course, 16. We'll see you in a few minutes. I went to this girl next door where the parents were mad. She fussy, hey boy, coming right around. Someone knocked at the door, you were standing with a bottle of red wine. Look at the part, just still I'm excited, raised to the floor. So I went in and we sat down, stuck his in, conversation from the bad jacuzzi sounded interesting. So we jumped right in, all calls diverted to answer phone. Please leave a message after the tone. I mean, me and her parents were kind of cool, but they were the fine line between me and you. We were just different things when people in love do. Parents trying to find out what we were up to. Saying parents trying to find out what we were up to. Ooh, yeah. Say it, fail me, yeah. Why will you keep around? Why will you keep around late last night? Can you feel me, yeah? Why will you keep around late last night? Can you feel me, yeah? Why will you keep around? Why will you keep around late last night? Can you feel me, yeah? Why will you keep around? Yeah. It's been 16 and 16. I've been doing this since I was 16. Been a few years, it's called 16. A brand new flow for 2016. It's been 16 and 16. I've been doing this since I was 16. Been a few years, it's called 16. A brand new flow for 2016. Sing, still living a dream. 1999 when I first came on the scene. Skinny young brat from house at 19 with a bunch of melodies, but there's someone I mean. Lean and mean, and wanting the whole scene. Packing on muscle and bars and protein. Pushing every microphone out of the hold it, cause you know I've been training favorites and keeping it clean. Whenever the coast was clear and she'd ask me to come out, I'd say, hey girl, come right around. So
Pushing us at the door, I was standing with the keys in my hands at the 4x4. Jumped in my ride, tripping and nobody saw. We took me in, we got down to the rhythm. So it was early morning, but we better be leaving. So I gave you my jacket for you to hold. Told you to wear it cause you felt cold. I mean, me and I didn't mean to break the rules. I weren't trying to play the mom and dad for a fool. We were just doing things and people that loved you. Parents trying to find out what we were up to. So you feel me, yeah. Why will you keep me around? Why will you keep me around late last night? Can you feel me, yeah? Why will you keep me? Why will you keep me? Ooh yeah. Feel me, yeah. Why will you keep me around? Why will you keep me around late last night? Can you feel me, yeah? Why will you keep me around? Why will you keep me around? Yo. It's been 16, a sick 16. I've been doing this since I was 16. Been a few years, it's more than 16. I'm brand new flow for 2016. It's been 16, a sick 16. I've been doing this since I was 16. Been a few years, it's more than 16. I'm brand new flow for 2016. Sing till every run up on this beat. No nonsense whenever you're around me. It don't make sense, cause I ain't wasted. If I'm gonna mess about, we all know that's a long thing. But then I sing, I flip the whole thing. One verse done, I forget the rapping. And if I get bored of the beat, jumping. Man, I'm here, press stop and just start beatboxing.
Thank you, Craig David there. And 16, the song there to take you into the first part of the new year. Will be one more song to play us out to take us into 2024 for the final show of the year, of course. Zach, what did you make to that? I mean, Craig David certainly DJ'd it up there and stole obviously their partnership there with Diplo and Skrillex for that song.
It's tune. No, absolutely. It's a good cover of a Skrillex and Justin Bieber song. Obviously, it's not his song usually, because it's just a cover of a song. But yeah, he pretty much mastered that. It was probably one of the good covers that I'd probably listen to, and yeah, and I certainly one that I'll bounce off to. I was definitely on that one.
Yeah, a lot of people. I should have played the original tonight. I thought maybe next week. I'm not sure, but obviously there's a film. By the way, guys, I just wanted to say I do actually. It's not on. I do actually for Christmas. I did actually get a special gift. Funny enough, I actually got a TS5 t-shirt. By the way, I'll tell you what, one week maybe I'll try and get it on. I'll try and wear it on air. I actually got a TS5 t-shirt for Christmas, so yeah, I got a bit of Craig David merch, so maybe I'll wear it one week on the show. So I don't know. Anyway, it's time to go and review now. Press preview, all the latest newspaper headlines coming in now. Here we go with the latest newspaper headlines. For tomorrow's papers, this is the newspaper headlines for the 29th of December. And the Independent goes, for Myanmar's jailed leader, a symbol of freedom and democracy, has been denied urgent medical attention for 2 years since the military junta deposed and imprisoned her. It goes with the Independent, forsaken but not forgotten, free Aung San Suu Kyi. The I newspaper goes, with get on with it. Boris Johnson hits out at Sunak over nuclear power delays. Former Prime Minister's urged Britain to speed up UK's transition to plan. In a rare public attack on his leadership, he warned the PM to get on with it as leaked papers revealed missing deadlines. The UK net zero plans rely on a quarter of the grid being powered by nuclear reactors, but key targets have been missed. GB News presenter Boris Johnson continues net zero push here. As a GB News presenter, would that be interesting to you? The Daily Star goes 73% of dogs need diet after Xmas blowouts. Who whiffed all the mince pies up? And also an exclusive page on the Daily Star for showbiz news. Holly Willoughby returns to Dancing on Ice. Also, you can watch The Masked Singer this weekend as well. That will also be on ITV, I think, on Saturday. So stay tuned for that. And the Financial Times goes, Washington steps up effort to choke funding for Tehran-backed Houthis. This comes as the bid to deter shipping attackers, sanctions on the Turkish and Yemeni groups. Conduits for cash, says the United States. And Tony Blair wanted deal to share Parthian marbles with Greece.
That again.
Zach, what do you make to all the latest newspaper headlines released so far?
Yeah, only a couple tonight. This is a period where it's sort of quieting, the headlines sort of quieting down. We get a little bit more variety on the front pages. as well. But let's start with the independents. We go for a special report on the Myanmar leader that we sort of used to know about quite a lot, and then got overturned in the military coup as well. This is Aung San Suu Kyi, and the Myanmar leader as well, the jailed leader who's been behind bars for 2 years. She's been denied urgent medical attention and legal access since Middelburg imprisoned her, and then got taken over by some military as well. She begins her 3rd year in isolation in jungle prison. Within a prison, the independent demands that world leaders must no longer look other ways to join forces campaign for her release. I mean, you think about all the other political people that have been imprisoned over the years in dictatorship countries. This is one we sort of forget about. Aung San Suu Kyi was first under house arrest 30 years ago in something else as well. And now these days, she's still under house arrest, rather interestingly enough, because she's been captured by the Myanmars. We sort of forget about it, but it still happens these days. And she's still there. She's still on it. And she's still behind bars, which is unfortunate because the military... I always wonder sort of what goes into these minds of military leaders to overturn the government. Imagine if our military started overturning our government. I mean, we'd be literally a constitutional crisis, but I mean, that would be bad. I don't think they'll be stupid enough to do that, but in Myanmar, they're insane enough to do that as well. I mean, it's not the first. This year, we've had a few military coups in certain parts of Africa as well, and they've taken out their own leaders and overturned by military powers and dictatorships as well. But Myanmar is sort of one that we sort of, forgot about the last couple of years as well, and that it still happened. Dictatorship military is in charge there as well, and life is just simply not the same as well. The I newspaper. This is Boris Johnson. A little bit of a different story though. Not the usual column in the weekly column in the Daily Mail, whatever you want to call it. But it's an attack on Rishi Sunak, another one, by the way, on the fact that Sunak is missing targets, missing deadlines and targets on nuclear power. He's kind of got a point in this, actually, one. The part of our sort of transition is to get nuclear power involved. Some people don't like it's dirty and everything like that as well. But it's part of the transition to nuclear power as well. And deadlines are being missed as well. UK net zero plans rely on a quarter of the grid being powered by nuclear reactors, but key targets of being missed. Well, that means, if we sort of miss all the deadlines for that, your energy prices go up as well, which is not very good as well. So it's really important. I mean, I know there's opposition to some nuclear power plants as well. Hickney, Bradwell, Sizewell C, all those areas have been opposed in some way, form, or another, and still needs to be developed. But yeah, the government are reaching targets on this one. It's really important they step up in soon or whatever. The Daily Star of their interesting headline this evening, the comical headline: "Who whiffed all the pie? 73% of dogs need diet after Xmas blowouts." And there's small print go, we're not the only ones to find out we have put on a few pounds after Christmas, as 73% of dogs had so many treats now they need to diet. I mean, they've got fat. We're not the only ones seem to be, giving away, eating all the food and all the, the gifts that we do, the fat stuff as well. The dogs seem to be taking some part. I mean, they eat their wrappers, they eat their presents, they eat their toys, they eat their big food as well, the fatting food. And it turns out today that, the dogs seem to be getting ones that need a bit of exercise. Take it out on the walks if you need to. You might use a little bit of weight from that. Obviously, the final release one, I think, at the moment, the Financial Times, is a headline on the fact that on the reports the US are going to impose sanctions on Turkish and Yemeni groups supporting efforts by the Houthis, which is in Yemen. The Houthis are increasing their attack in the sea, at the Red Sea at the moment, because they're targeting cargo ships particularly as well. That anything that goes to Israel of some sort as well that's bound for Israel seems to be a target for them for a reason. They're backed by Iranian groups as well, in that state. So I imagine some Turkish groups are backing it. Yemeni groups are certainly backing it as well. But sanctions are on these groups to sort of curtail their power and their ability to do financial abilities in the United States as well, which is really important in that front as well. But let me go through. Don't think we've got anything else. Oh, the Mail. Yeah, I know you mentioned that Holly Willoughby's returning to Dance the Nice as well. I see, which she's been announced as presented alongside Stephen Mulholland, who's replacing Philip Schofield. I mean, that's a fair enough change. I mean, first of all, I suppose it's good to see that Holly Willoughby will be back on screen, because this is going to be the first time that she's actually been on television screens, doing something live television after attempted kidnap plot as well, which is good to see. But the Mail have also gone for police give up on 4 crimes a minute. This is the effort by our police. Police expand investigations of 4 crimes every minute without tracking down the culprits. I mean, this is a horrifying story. The number of arrests required closed by officers identifying suspects has rocketed by nearly 250,000 year on year. I mean, I get the impression from that is that no matter how much a police officer you try to hire or cut and then doing any stuff with all streamline, the quality of crime being charged have dropped because police officers find no trial, they go and drop them and everything like that as well. Honestly, it's shocking. That is a stinker of a headline as well, and a stinker of investigation as well. There's serious investigations that need to happen on why this is not happening as well. Oh, the Telegraph, which is up there, is a headline. We've got a headline for the Telegraph as well. Oh, that's the same thing. How police not probing crime. As well, they go for the same as the Daily Mail, interesting enough. Watchdog shames 22 of the 43 forces as inadequate or requiring improvement as well. There is a lot of police crime stories going on this evening as well, and the police are not coming out good of it. So that is the headlines, Charlie, for the 29th of December.
That's your headlines for the 29th of 29th of December. And before we go, as of course he's joining GB News this year, I thought I'd share with you some Boris Johnson's wacky column headlines.
Oh, God.
This is Boris Johnson, ladies and gentlemen, who has his own page on the Mail with some headlines. And, I mean, look at this. This is some interesting headlines I found here. One goes with this absurd royal racism hoo-ha shows it's time to cancel culture. I believe that is in a reference to Harry and Meghan. He called Woo shock horror. It's the latest scandal to rock the rolls, and it's turning into humongous whodunit. That's one column there. Wokery is damaging the West as well. He also goes on about baby boomers like me have to have it good. That's why it's right to
no.
Big debate at the moment as well. Sadiq Khan's abject failure on crime is tarnishing the UK's reputation globally. I wept over this slaughter in Israel, but there is one chance of peace that the world make Hamas irrelevant. Rishi Smokey's ban is balmy. Cancel HS2 Northern Leg. We must be out of our minds. Britain will never, ever, ever rejoin the EU. And I'd strap the Taliban into their chairs on a Sunday and make them watch our lionesses until they understand skills, strength, and talent that women possess. Yes, that obviously Boris Johnson joining GB News this year. As a former politician going into being a journalist now, what do you make to some of these quite wacky?
Oh, blimey, those headlines. I don't read his columns, and there's obviously a reason why I don't read the columns, because they're quite banana and bonkers sometimes. I definitely won't be watching him on GB News because I don't have the appetite to watch that channel as well. So I'm sure he'll have a good time doing that, speaking to his favourite audience. But they seem just as barney as the Telegraph column that he used to do on a Monday every week as I was an MP before he became Prime Minister. It doesn't, it doesn't whet my appetite, shall we say that for that as well.
Boris Johnson certainly has many of our appetites, certainly laid into our destruction. So that's all I'm going to say on that one. And finally, now, guys, that's all we got time for the show. I just want to say Happy New Year to everyone. And I thought, as it's a New Year edition, we'll play us out. And of course, to play us out tonight, Rick Astley's going to play us out. And we're going to play Never Gonna Give You Up as the final song of the year. Of course, Rick Astley is performing on New Year's Rocks. And
What
Zach,
a song.
before we go, what is your message to everyone out there, obviously, with this coming into 2024 and new opportunities for young people and also to those in the political world as well?
Oh, I mean, Happy New Year, first of all. You all got bright minds, good brains, use it, and let's make the world a better place next year. It's aspiration, credibility, futurism. I look forward to all of that, hopefully, if everyone has the brains to do it. So, yeah, enjoy, live, love life.
It's gonna. Do you know what? Next year will be a big year. A big year. We had a record-breaking F1 season with Max Verstappen winning 19 races, and we had a politics year full of quite a lot of controversy. So yeah, it's going to be They're just some of the highlights for this year, and I'm sure you guys will want to listen to it. But that's all we got time for from the show tonight. Thanks so much for watching. To play us out into the new year, Rick Astley and Never Gonna Give You Up, a 1980s classic. We'll see you again in 2024. Take care and good night.
Most teams I've seen, they're set up to not get beat. They're very organised, disciplined. I thought everyone's got fantastic. The kind of thing that people want to do. Rather than mark the man, you actually get someone smaller, try and block them. And we see it so often that sometimes that doesn't work. And we didn't tonight. Zinchenko was then in the job to block Mavropanos, who was obviously bigger than him, stronger than him, and proved that. Once you get that run, very, very difficult to stop someone who's going to have the run on it and then the climb on it. But then to get the direction as he did on there, out of the world.
We talked pre-match about what are we trying to do the value for money. Looks like the money that we spent well from the right 105 billion. Well, two more of those on the side of the link up in that one in Mavropanos and Jacob House there. Really impressive what David Boyd has done with that in that
What it brings to the team, solidity. We can talk about what we do for the team and the final score, but what Bowen could have did every single time hold the ball, allowing the team to breathe. It's vital because you can't play something like that for 19 or 12 years. And that's kind of a vital. The amount of time could have kept that ball and allowed the team to play higher. They just set them to so yes, they did very well with the money that they got from the transfer business.
Overall, because there's a huge effort
yeah, and I think sometimes when you work so hard, you work so hard to get it back. When you get back to get back, you got to and they did that well. And I'm actually a point, you come from them, you don't have to defend. It's difficult. Sometimes they have to be on there. I think once they're comfortable, that they play that way anyway. And it's so good at transition. You've got to take that ball and do it so you can get you out of the pitch and get through. So key, we've got to put in good pass, but I think so. A lot of people do that as well, right? But Opona, people are giving you the game by questioning the Opona, and a lot of others would be able to